time before the Titans, before the gods of Olympus, a great battle was waged.
No, it wasn't. There was no fighting at all before the Titans were born.
The wrath of the primordials.
There were primordials, sure, but there was no wrath. They were actually just constantly mating to create more primordials and other beings.
The very beings who forged the earth. Raged out of control for an eternity.
This seems to suggest that the earth and ocean and such were created when the primordials died. This is not the case. Primordials are literal living locations and personifications, and the only one who ever died was Uranus. Also, the ocean primordial appears female here, but the first ocean primordial was Pontus, and Pontus was male.
And from this rage, this madness of war, the Furies were brought forth.
No, the Furies were born from the blood that spilled during the castration of Uranus, which happened after the Titans were born. There are some alternate tellings, but this is not one of them.
When Zeus came to power, he found he had little to fear from the sisters. The Furies sought retribution only for those whom they deemed guilty. The first of these traitors was Aegean the Hecatoncheires.
According to the Iliad, this guy actually has two names. Aegeon is the name that mortals call him, whereas the gods refer to him as Briareus. Since this game is narrated by Gaia, who is not a mortal, she should be calling him Briareus.
When the brute pledged a blood oath to Zeus, only to later betray the king of the gods, the Furies were quick to take action.
Okay, the myths behind this are a bit inconsistent. You could say this is inaccurate because according to Homer, Aegeon was so loyal to Zeus that at one point he stopped the gods from rebelling against him. However, later Roman poets would describe Aegeon as an enemy of the gods and say that he tried to find ways to bring the Titans back to power. So, it depends on which version you want to follow, I guess.
The sisters relentlessly hunted Aegeon, and upon capturing the creature, tortured him without mercy. For the Furies believed death was too kind for this oath-breaker.
So, where the heck are the other two Hecatoncheires, Cotys and Aegus? Are they just gonna do nothing while their own brother gets tortured for a heck of a long time? Heck.
Is that the best you can offer?
Megara, Tisiphone, and Orcos bleed red blood in this game, despite the fact that deities in Greek mythology are supposed to have golden ichor running through their veins.
You are a worthless mortal!
Megara does not command an army of parasites. Certainly not ones that are capable of creating zombie-like minions that are shown later on. The Greek deities don't really have blood oaths. When they want to make a binding oath, they do something called swearing by the waters of the river Styx. If we're just talking about oaths in general here, then technically the first guy to break an oath was Kronos, when he reneged on his promise to free the Cyclopes and Hecatoncheires from Tartarus after he overthrew his father. This whole prison made from the body of a Hecatoncheires is such an epic and creative idea. But unfortunately, this never happened in the myths. The Furies Furies are deities, you know, so how is Kratos able to kill them? This game takes place before Kratos got the god-killing powers from Pandora's box, so what gives? In the Chains of Olympus video, you guys said it was because he had the Gauntlet of Zeus, but there is a distinct lack of Zeus gauntlets in this game. Are the Furies supposed to be mortal in this game? If that's the case, then not only is that inaccurate, but it raises more questions considering they constantly call Kratos mortal in a derogatory way.
I will not be ruined by a mortal! You are a worthless mortal! Die, mortal! You are a mere mortal!
You are but a mortal.
There are no elephant-headed monsters in Greek mythology. The only time Circe poisoned a water supply was when she got jealous of a nymph named Scylla and put a potion in her bathwater which transformed her into the infamous monster many of us know. I don't believe that is the case here, otherwise there'd be a whole village of Scyllas.
For those who seek the truth, the heat of Ares' fire has no burn.
The Greek gods don't just leave powers lying around for anybody to grab and use. Sure, the gods bestowed several gifts, weapons, and abilities to certain heroes, but they did so selectively and in person. This enemy type is called a satyr general. As I've stated before, satyrs were not disciplined warriors, so they definitely didn't have generals. And there also weren't minotaur-sized breeds of satyrs. While Gorgons were certainly depicted with snakes for hair, and sometimes with snakes emerging from other areas, their heads were not snake heads. Especially not hooded snake heads, since hooded snakes were never really a thing in Greece.
Take the ice of Poseidon and you will find your path.
Poseidon is not the god of ice. That would be Chione, daughter of Boreas the North Wind. Dude, the Oracle was not heavily guarded by monsters and challenges. There are several stories of Greek people talking to oracles, which is never a good idea, by the way. Don't do that. You'll end up dying or marrying your mom. And when they did do it, it was a fairly simple process. It did not require a life-threatening adventure. Why is the Chimera breathing ice? The Chimera breathes fire. They even had them breathe fire in God of War 3. What happened? It seems these giant mechanical snakes Kratos is traversing are supposed to be a reference to Python. Now, Python's exact size and appearance and even gender are pretty inconsistent, but he's definitely not supposed to be this big. Also, he's not mechanical. And there's only one of him, yet there are 3 here. Props for having him be connected to the Delphic Oracle, though. That's straight out of the myths. Manticores are very interesting creatures. They originate from Persia, and in that version they have human faces, lion bodies, 3 rows of teeth, red fur, and a tail covered in poisonous quills. Now you may be thinking, well then, this version is clearly inaccurate. But there are Greek versions, and later depictions have made their faces more lion-like, replaced the quills with a full scorpion tail, and given them wings. So, we're good here. That's not quite what the Temple of Delphi looked like.
Hurry! Before the Master approaches!
You! We have given you all you need for success, and yet you still fail us. The statues were to be completed by now.
It is a massive task you have set before us, Master. My brothers, they need food and rest.
You have not been asked to speak! And who will be next? You there! You are now charged with the task of completing the statues.
As you wish.
We hope your work is better than that of your friend here. We can no longer stand the sight of you. You make us sick.
This man is supposed to be Castor. Castor and his brother Pollux were known for being extremely kind and generous. Does not seem to be the case here. They were also adventurers throughout their lives. They didn't work for the Oracle at Delphi. These enemies are called Siren Sibyls. Sibyl is basically another word for oracle, and none of the sirens were oracles in Greek myth. Plus, sirens don't have thunder powers. Similar to God of War 3, there are automaton enemies in this game which are called Fire Talos, Ice Talos, and Thunder Talos. And once again, I must point out that Talos is the name of one specific automaton, not the entire race. Aletheia was not an oracle. She was the spirit of truth and sincerity.
Return when you have brought appropriate sacrifice.
I have come to see the Oracle, and that is what I intend to do.
I would have liked to hear your story, warrior. It is a shame you failed to see reason. Remove him. We have to find a better slave trader.
Castor and Pollux were indeed twins, but not conjoined twins.
We will not tolerate your impudence. You will not see her.
Castor and Pollux are supposed to be the protectors of guests and travelers. Kratos is currently both. These guys are not doing their jobs.
Your desire to see the Oracle will get you killed!
That's the most mythically accurate thing that's been said in this whole series.
I am but an innocent.
Castor and Pollux weren't killed. They were granted immortality and became the constellation known as Gemini. This amulet is not a thing in Greek mythology.
The Furies infect your mind because you run from your oath to Ares. They will stop at nothing should you resist.
So the Shade speaks the truth.
The intentions of Orcos are pure.
Orcos? But he is a Fury.
Not in the myths he isn't. Orcos, or Horkos, is actually a living curse who is inflicted on those who swear false oaths. And he doesn't hang out with the Furies, but with the goddess of justice, whose name I don't think I can say on YouTube.
Why Ares needed you, why he still needs you.
This creature is a Lestrygonian, which is a bit weird considering Lestrygonians are known for sinking ships rather than helping them.
I was brought forth by the joining of the War God and the Fury Queen.
No, you weren't. Horkos was a child of Eris. It does say in the legend that the Furies aided in his birth, but none of them were his actual mother. Ares never even hooked up with any Furies. And they don't have a queen.
I sought counsel with Alethea. It was she who revealed to me the plot of Ares to overthrow Zeus. But he needed the perfect warrior. Ares molded you to take down the very walls of Olympus. To make you beholden only to him, Ares and my mothers devised 3 blood tasks.
So basically, Ares was planning to create a warrior to help him overthrow Zeus, and the Furies were helping him. However, in the myths, the main thing the Furies are against and punish people for is when people betray or kill their own parents. And yet, now they're helping Ares do exactly that. Apparently, that's an Empusa. Empusae are vampiric women with flaming hair, 1 brass leg, and 1 donkey leg. Here they have mantis limbs and what looks like poison coming out of their heads. Also, the Empusae serve the goddess Hecate, not the Furies.
The sooner we get past Delos, the happier I'll be. They say the great Archimedes built that statue for Apollo.
Archimedes was an incredibly brilliant scientist and inventor from real-world history who designed pumps, pulleys, war machines, etc., but never a gigantic statue of Apollo. In fact, no such statue has ever existed in Delos. My sources say that these women are Amazons. Now, I was originally going to call this inaccurate because Kratos is currently on the island of Delos, and the Amazons are said to reside close to the Black Sea, which is very far from Delos. But there are myths that say the Amazons are daughters of Ares, so you could say that perhaps Ares directly sent these Amazons after Kratos in this game. However, I'm still going to point out that Amazons have never been able to command harpies in Greek mythology. Oh, and some of you might be wondering why she has dark skin despite being from Greek culture. The thing is, though, the Black Sea is actually right next to Turkey, so some of the Amazons being that race is plausible.
You leave an army in disarray. Return to us, General. Lead us to victory.
You do not exist. You are of my mind.
Return to your roots. Return to who you are, Spartan.
We only mean to bring you home.
My home is in Sparta!
Strange how Tisiphone has the power of mental manipulation in this game, when in the myths, Alecto was the Fury who would drive people mad. Tisiphone is supposed to be the Fury who punishes murderers, so it'd make a lot more sense to have her torment Kratos by reminding him of everyone he's slaughtered, rather than constantly tempting him with rewards.
Come, my lovely. If pain is what he shows us, then pain is what he shall receive!
Tisiphone often summons a daemon to aid her in battle, but she's not known for that in the myths. She's also supposed to have a blood-red robe.
Your methods fail us, Megira. I will take care of him.
The designs of the Furies here are quite different from Greek culture. Here, there are 3 decent-looking young women, each with their own unique monstrous traits. In mythology, there are 3 hideous old crones, with wings, whips, and serpents protruding from their bodies.
You will return.
Death first!
I should have done this a long time ago.
Orcos! This is what you align with, Spartan?
This time, you will fail.
Okay, this isn't myth-related, but I have to ask, what is going on with some of the missing sounds in this game? It's so weird. This duplicating stone is not in Greek mythology. That actually is a famous quote from Archimedes. Funny thing is, though, it was referring to a lever. So why not have this item be a lever rather than a chisel? That's not how Archimedes died. Archimedes was killed by a Roman soldier in Syracuse after the city was taken. It's actually a pretty cool story, considering it was his war machines that killed many Romans during the battle, and the reason he was killed was because he refused to stop working on a math diagram when he was confronted. The Greek oracles did not all use the same pair of eyes. Heck, there were often multiple oracles at a time, so that would be a very difficult system.
Come, sisters. We will break him within the walls of Hecatoncheires.
Is this supposed to be where the Furies live? Because they are typically said to reside in the underworld, and this Hecatoncheires prison is very clearly above ground.
In time you will forget. All that you have lost can be yours once again. If this is what keeps you in service to Lord Ares, then this is what you shall have.
Alecto seems very level-headed in this game. In the myths, though, Alecto's name literally translates to unceasing anger.
I am the Queen of the Furies!
So I guess in this game Alecto is also Charybdis? That is definitely not in mythology. Charybdis is a monstrous daughter of Poseidon who always resides at the Mycenaean Strait with Scylla, and Alecto is a completely separate being. Was that a reference to Tisiphon's role in the myths? Okay, cool. Alecto bleeds black blood in this game, despite the fact that I think you know where I'm going with this.
Hi, thanks for watching, and thank you to the awesome people on Patreon who made this video possible. Lilith Jade Vaughn, Gilda Ramos, Double Ditto, Adam Whaley, Anthony Miano, Chris Fourcats Cat, CJ the Boy, Gina Adams, Matthew Owen, Carrie692, Darkling, Gavin Lothar, Justin Pruitt, This Ting, Zaggard, Zach Horgan, Alex, Average Berksit Geezer, Black-Chinned Hummingbird, Bloody Sovey, Kane Kendrick, Carson Price, Christopher D. Sampson II, Krill E. Dara, Damian Fireheart, Dominic Fournier Bessner, Dubious, Habalon, James H., Jeff Jeffington, Jennifer McNeese, Jeremy Sunday, Jike, Cade, Kevin, Lassie Ehrenreich, Marco Gonzalez, Mario Potter, Matt Dioguardo, Miranda Annette, Nathaniel Frey, Novakis, Renji Killer, Russin Sam, Sage Ty, Saint Wolfman, Stephen Pilko, Sunsinger, The Jesus, The Last, Zoya Westfall, and Mags. Thank you guys so much. Your support keeps these kinds of videos going. If you want to support and add to the people that make these videos possible, and also occasionally get access to content that doesn't make it onto YouTube, or early access to content while I fight copyright strikes on YouTube, consider joining the Patreon. But if you don't want to, that's fine. You support me just by watching. Thank you so much. I don't know how to end videos.